Hi viewers, welcome to my channel Satya Sparkles. My playlist title All That Glitters is Gold, If Your Mind Believes So, has 10 parts. Though they are sequential in nature, all parts can be viewed in isolation on random basis as each part deals with a separate topic. As requested by a few subscribers, I have compiled all these 10 parts in this single video. I'll now read the topics covered in this video for your quick reference. Strawberry is not a berry, but banana is. So, you want to get rid of all desires. Sorry. Anger is one letter short of danger. Is it true? Ego, is it an asset or a liability on the path to success? Overcoming fear, is it a futile exercise? Anxiety, a boon or ban? Can you use jealousy to fuel your own success? How can hate help but hatred cannot? Unconditional love, is it possible? Good luck and bad luck, is it a myth? Okay, let's begin with my first part, namely, strawberry is not a berry, but banana is. Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Satya Sparkles. This capsule title, All That Glitters is Gold If Your Mind Believes So, encompasses a variety of topics in multiple parts that deal with the ways in which we perceive philosophy, religion, situations, people, and many more on an autopilot mode. From software to surfing, cooking to gardening, or dieting to dating, all of us have blind spots, irrespective of our role and status in this society, and more importantly, the degree of our intelligence and intellect. This is because each one of us has a unique psyche, influenced and programmed by innumerable factors, day in, day out. And this capsule, hopefully, would help you to enhance our awareness and explore mental blocks. Okay, let's begin with our current topic. Strawberry is not a berry, but banana is. Yes, it is technically true. In this segment, we will see how the blind spots in our mind's eye distort our perception and how they create mental blocks. The tricky part is that this happens right within us, day in, day out, without our awareness. It seems that 10% of the people in the world are colorblind. George Bernard Shaw discovered his colorblindness at the age of 60 when he went to a shop to buy a yellow color tie to match his yellow color coat. But he selected a green color tie and argued that it is the same color that matched with his yellow colored suit. Likewise, with this vision problem, many people have difficulty in distinguishing certain colors such as blue and yellow or red and green. Most colorblind people see colors, but their color perception is limited and inaccurate. I recall an instance experienced by my daughter residing in Chicago then. She was going for a test drive to get the driving license. While taking a right turn, sitting at the left side of the car, she switched the right indicator on, viewed the right hand side mirror, and turned the car to the right. The inspector sitting beside her insisted that she should go back and study the rules and come back again for another round of is drive. It seems that while taking a right turn, it is just not enough to turn the right indicator on and view the right side mirror, but also to turn your head slightly back on the right hand side to ensure that no one is passing near the front and rear doors on the right side, because that is likely a blind spot, which is a potential danger for any accident. Similarly, many times we all have distorted perception in our mind with the way we think and act. And it's a fact that we do not see the world as it is, but we see the world the way that we have been programmed to think. And the keyword here is programming. Perception is powerful and it creates truth for us. Our perceptions are what define our behavior. Our mind will be closed if we resist to alter our perceptions by questioning our beliefs. With our distorted perception, everything is truth to ourselves by default. Let us decipher to find out the causes for the faulty perceptions and what action we have control to correct ourselves. Once upon a time, atom was considered as the smallest particle. Until this belief was there in the mind of the people, no one even made any effort to split the atom. Vedic scriptures say that we all lead our life with three inherent defects. They are dirt, that is, negative thoughts, ignorance, and distraction that are embedded in our mind. Self awareness is the only way to manage our distorted perception. Self awareness is possible only when we consciously make sustained efforts to deal with the three defects. Let's understand that in the first place, perception is created when we decide what to believe, and beliefs arise out of our strong emotions. Once this happens, our rational mind shuts off. Someone walking up on a mountain may struggle to climb ahead, while the other person might get excited to reach the peak, assuming both are physically fit. And so our perspective defines our experience. For example, a frog's perception about its prey is a moving fly, which it grabs by its tongue. But the same frog may be completely blind about some hundreds of dead flies lying around and starved to death due to hunger. The same way, we may be blind towards any potential opportunities if we have closed mind with faulty perceptions. What's a belief? A belief is an idea about people, object, or situations that we think it is true, whereas a perception is what we experience and infer through our beliefs, which act as filters. There's nothing called right belief or wrong belief. The question that we should ask ourselves is whether a particular belief that we hold are empowering or disempowering in our life towards progress. Why is it so difficult to challenge and change our beliefs? The simple answer is that we are our perceptions. Our thinking and behaviors are nothing but conditioned responses which have deep roots from the past. At this point, I'm reminded of a parable. Once a frog happened to see a millipede and wondered how it is able to walk with more than 100 legs. It called the millipede and said, "You are a miracle. How have you learned to walk effortlessly with so many legs?" The millipede said, "I really don't know, but I've been walking like this from my childhood. However, since you asked this question, I shall ponder over this." Then the millipede went near a tree and started thinking about how it was possible to move all the legs in such a synchronized manner. It could not get any answer and wanted to tell its inability to find answer to the frog. But to its utter surprise and shock, it could not move even an inch forward while it was consciously trying to move the legs. This story tells us how powerful the conditioning is. We become slaves to our own habits. Once your subconscious mind accepts the relevance, it becomes a belief and you will be in on autopilot mode. Hence, others' perception about us will help to take a pause and reflect on our beliefs. Feed forward is an excellent tool to experiment with the ideas of others. Here you ask others what changes that you should make to progress in specific area in your life, be it a career, marital life, parenting, or post-retirement life, etc. While feedback is about the past, feed forward is future-oriented. Historically, in the love story of Laila and Majnu, it seemed that Laila was not that beautiful while Majnu was mad after her. It is pertinent to note here that if you want to appreciate the beauty of Laila, you should see her through Majnu's eyes. In the same way, once you get ideas through feed-forward method, the next step will be to test and validate the proposed ideas without being judgmental. Coming back to the three inherent defects that I referred earlier in the segment, and to be self-aware, we need to rectify the defects on ongoing basis. Firstly, one should recognize the negative emotions such as inappropriately expressed anger, acting in fear, hate, and jealousy, etc., and make our best efforts to get rid of them. Secondly, ignorance mars our vision. Knowledge is all about accumulation of facts, data, details about people, objects, and situations that leads to wisdom. Let us also remember that knowledge per se is not power, but the application of the knowledge at right time and how we make the best use of such knowledge in our life is a real power. It is relevant here to tell a story. A person wants to learn martial arts and approaches Zen master. On becoming a student, he is waiting for the lessons to start, but this did not happen for a few days. Then the student became restless and asked the Zen master as to when he was planning to start the lesson. At the time, Zen master gave him a blow at his back with a stick and asked him to go back and do some household work at the school. This happened whenever the student reminded the master to start the lesson. So the student decided to leave the school, and before leaving, he wanted to give at least one blow to the master. One day, while the Zen master was watering flowers, the student quietly approached him from the back and attempted to give a blow to the master. At this time, the master swiftly turned back and held the stick and said, "This is the lesson number one. You should know where the blow is going to come from." And this is what I've been trying to teach all these days, but you never picked up the lesson. Awareness is all about beware of situations and aware of surroundings. This addresses a third defect, which is distraction. Laser sharp focus on whatever we do with high degree of concentration should help us to rectify this defect. Various approaches, including meditation and mindfulness techniques, are available to effectively deal with distraction, thus enhancing our self awareness. Contrary to our beliefs, sun neither rises nor sets. It is our perceptions that define our reality, and our behavior is based on what we believe to be true. So, we have reached the end of this post. Being willing to learn allows us to move from a point of view to a viewing point, and this is an expansive place from where we can see an issue from multiple perspectives. I appeal to the viewers to apply, test, and validate the strategies and approaches suggested in this capsule in your own life journey. So we shall explore more in my subsequent posts. Please do share, subscribe, comment, and click the bell button. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Until then, goodbye. So this is Satya signing off. Hi viewers, welcome to my channel Satya Sparkles. This segment is the part 2 of my capsule titled All That Glitters is Gold If Your Mind Believes So. The title for this segment is So, you want to get rid of all desires? Sorry. Why sorry? Because by aiming to get rid of all desires, you're planning to add one more desire, that is, to get rid of all desires. What basically separates from each one of us is likes and dislikes, which are called raga and dvesha. In other words, attraction and repulsion, as described in Vedic scriptures. This is our childhood, our likes and dislikes have been arising almost on daily basis from our belief systems, which have deep roots in the process of conditioning or subliminal programming by people surrounding us. Their opinions, views, behaviors, actions have tremendous influence on our thinking, thereby impacting our own behaviors, desirable or otherwise. This is supplemented with perception of knowledge and anti-knowledge gained through formal education, own experiences involving successes and failures, reading, audiovisual learning, observation, and interpretation of what's happening around us. Most of the time, this happens unconsciously, and hence, there's a critical need for objective thinking. Desire management is all about objective thinking. In other words, to focus on how to think, what to think. Our quality of thinking is synonymous with desire management. All of us should rightfully seek to be happy, at least in our current life. Happiness means different things to different people. We all view happiness through the lens of varied things such as money, power, status, fame, material things, relationships, love, service, sacrifice, pleasure derived through our senses, and many more. And fundamentally, attaining happiness is not possible without having desires. So, desire is the very basis for our existence. Having said that, desire is the only mode through which we can aim to be happy. Then the question why desires make us unhappy remains a mystery to all of us. How can we make our desires work for us to our advantage in seeking happiness? Let's understand that there are two types of desires. One is what we want to acquire and retain, and the other is what we want to get rid of, either temporarily or permanently. Both are valid desires. Desire is a double edged weapon as it is useful to us or it can hurt us. What are the elements of desire that influence positively or negatively in our pursuit towards the journey of happiness? Let us explore further. The first element is quantum of desires. Our unconscious pattern tendency to rapidly multiply our desires, some of which may be unrealistic at short and very frequent intervals of time, is a sure recipe for disaster in our life. More the merrier is a misnomer here. When Michelangelo was once asked, how did you sculpture the David statue? He replied, I removed all those which are not David. This is true with our desires too. Two things define us. our patience when we have nothing, and our attitude when we have everything. The second element is intensity of desires. Quality of desires involving vigor and authenticity matters most. If our desires are anchored at unethical, immoral mindset and negative emotions, the outcome will disappoint and frustrate one day or the other for sure. Negative emotions include inappropriate and misapplied expression of anger, jealousy, baseless fear, rage, and revenge, etc. Learning the art in being command of these emotions is vital in managing our desires. Human mind is like a drunken monkey bitten by a scorpion. Being passionate with our desires is fine, but obsession with the desire is a clear no, no. Be alert. The third element is conflicting desires. Do you want the cake and eat it too? In our lifetime, at times, one or more conflicting desires may arise simultaneously. Examples could be to be desiring for sleep and watch television at the same time, total dependence on luck, at the same time having high aspirations in life, etc. Be wise to recognize them and deal with conscious right choice. The fourth element is path of desires. A quote by unknown says, sometimes I feel like a semicolon. I don't know where I belong. It is essential to cultivate the habit of self awareness as an integral part of emotional intelligence. This means reflection and contemplation of our thoughts and actions on consistent basis. This process will help us to validate our distorted perception on how we experience our experiences consciously. Remember, we cannot change the direction of the wind, but we can set our sails using our internal compass so that we can progress towards the desired destination. If Columbus had returned back after 7 days of his voyage, nobody would have blamed him and nobody would be remembering him either. Do our desires empower us or hinder us towards achieving excellence? Answer to this question will be a terrific conclusion. The fifth element is the ability to manage desires. Being conscious of the above elements of desires will help us to develop our ability to manage desires appropriately. One important index could be to take a pause and introspect whether the origin of a particular desire is from a need or greed. All of us can, to some extent, understand what are our perceived needs, but the distinction between need and greed from one's own perspective may be very paper thin and many times very difficult even to distinguish. Flying in business class or economy class does not mean that the person traveling in business class will reach the destination faster. Whether we drive a luxury car or an economic car, the road will remain same for all of us. However, affordability, comfort, or status may be the key factors for one's decision to buy a luxury car. Is it an indicator of greed? Perhaps trying to live beyond means may be termed as greed. Then, what is the definition of greed? An interesting question. The answer lies in our own mind. A person was riding a horse and lost control over the speed of the horse, but was holding onto the neck of the horse. On the way, someone asked him, where are you going at this high speed? The man on the horse replied, ask this question to the horse. So, need is controllable if you make a honest attempt, but greed is not. It is not important to hold all the cards, rather, good cards in life. but it is surely important how well you play the cards that you hold. So the bottom line is happiest people don't have the best of everything, but they just make the best of everything. One can try for a mental shift from living for happiness to living from happiness. As there's a saying, there is no way to happiness, and happiness is the way. Please do subscribe, share, comment, and click the bell button. Thanks for watching, and I'll revert with more videos soon. Until then, bye and take care. This is Satya signing off. Hi viewers, welcome to my channel, Satya Sparkles. This segment is the part 3 of my capsule titled All That Glitters is Gold If Your Mind Says So. The title for this segment is Anger, One Letter Short of Danger. Is it true? The basic question is anger good or bad? We'll try to ponder over this question deeply in this segment. Once, a patient complained to the doctor, Doctor, I get angry quite often. Is there any medicine to solve my problem? Doctor replied, I understand your problem. Let me try to address your problem. Firstly, tell me how long you have this problem. The patient angrily shouted at the doctor and said, that is none of our business, and he walked away from the scene in a hurry. Humor apart, anger is a strong emotion, is instinctual, and many times we have no control over it. We rarely are able to exercise our choice whether we would be angry or not. In Indian context, with particular reference to classical dance, anger is considered as one of the 9 rasas called Raudra rasa. The dominant emotions of anger, resentment, and hostility are depicted for a chosen character of wicked personalities involved in the drama. But it doesn't mean that good characters do not show anger. With calm and collection as basic nature, good characters found in epics such as Rama trying to kill Ravana and Draupadi while being humiliated by Duryodhana are also portrayed by the practice of Raudra Rasa. Fury or rage triggers anger, and it is an irritable emotion that is exhibited when a person experiences shame, sadness, or defeat. Coming back to the basic question, is anger good or bad? We need to discuss it in from 2 perspectives. Firstly, is it good or bad for a person experiencing anger? And secondly, how one's anger impacts the other person individually or collectively, the community at large. As medical doctors say, anger can produce ulcers, insomnia, heart diseases, and hypertension. If we dig at our human history, irrespective of geographical location, we will note that no major change has ever happened until someone was angry at a particular period on particular issue. When I say major change, I refer to both positive and negative implications, be it French Revolution, Berlin Wall construction or demolition, freedom for a country, or wars, about which we have studied during our school or college days. We all know that when Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation for India, was thrown out of the rail compartment in South Africa, he was angry then, for certain. Nevertheless, he channelized anger towards commitment to fight against racial discrimination and determination at a later stage to throw the British out of India, which eventually happened. The next question is, or the next question to address is, can anger be controlled at our will? Before attempting to answer this question, it would be relevant to understand the sources or the signs of anger. The signs of anger exist in a range. Some are very obvious, others may be very subtle. They differ from person to person. Though signs of anger can be physical, mental, emotional, and behavioral, I have categorized and incorporated the topic anger in emotional chapter because it is predominantly a strong emotion and it's a form of certain energy. People themselves cannot technically anger us. Anger arises as a result of one or many more situations, such as sadness, irritability, guilt, resentment, needing to be alone, etc. What people do causes us to decide we're reacting in an angry fashion. It is triggered when our self esteem is endangered, when our ego is hurt, when we are insulted or deprived of something, and when we are unable to tolerate stupidity and frustration due to not getting what we want, and many more. Depending on the individuals, their emotions, circumstances, anger may cause a person to become enraged or even furious. In one instance of a trivial nature, a press reporter threw a shoe at George Bush. During interrogation, he revealed to the police that the mysterious smile of Bush when delivering the speech irritated him and he became instantly angry. Some lash out as an extreme terrorist behavior, as in the case of murder of John Lennon. As many of us know, a major controversy erupted in 1966 when John Lennon declared that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus. This prompted Mark David Chapman to shoot and kill John Lennon. Other people tend to be defensive or keep their anger to themselves, bottling up their negative emotions and hurt, while some people become reckless and even become abusive. Anger can be a terribly harmful emotion if it is not properly managed. People who become angry behave in different ways, as mild as in verbal abuse or inflicting minor physical injury, or as severe as a murder. What are the negative effects of anger if expressed inappropriately? All of us would have surely experienced few or more negative effects of anger at some point in our life. But what critically matters is the frequency and the intensity of such experiences. To name a few, anger disrupts and distorts our actions and thoughts, impairs judgment and memory. It produces impulsive and undesirable behavior, and it leads to unnecessary aggression. It inhibits formation, sustaining, and development of relationships. Let us also not forget that prolonged unexpressed anger is more dangerous than smoking and cancer. Thus, anger is the first emotion to be experienced and the last to be controlled. However, it can be effectively managed through certain proven tactics. One tactic that tops the list is to walk away from the scene. Any physical movement alters the energy patterns, thus reducing the effects of spiraling angry thoughts. Taking a deep breath A few times helps to nourish our brain with more oxygen. Mental relaxation is the antidote to combat anger. Behavioral scientists say that consciously trying to understand how the other person is responsible for your anger and to be brave in accepting that you may be wrong or you used to be wrong in the past and similar situation will ease the tension instantly. The same context. Recently, someone gave me a humorous advice. He said, if the person making you uncomfortable is much younger than you, count up to 10 and then speak. If the person is equal to your strength, count up to 30 and speak. The person is stronger than you, count up to 100 and speak. And if the person is your spouse, just keep counting. Don't stop. This is in lighter sense, though it makes a lot of sense when it comes to managing anger. The simple trick here is mind diversion. A powerful gift that God has given to us is our inability to hold on to more than one thought at any point of time. Yes, counting really works. Oftentimes, people tend to magnify situations, resulting in needless misery, anxiety, and emotional aspects. To overcome this problem, I frequently use a powerful technique called emotional thermometer. Whenever you confront with a situation which annoys you, imagine that you have an emotional thermometer with a scale from 0 to 10. 0 means everything is going well, there is no undue tension. 10 denotes something truly threatening and catastrophic in sustaining a relationship or the situation that endanger your self-esteem very adversely, which needs your demonstration to be assertive. As the next step, which is very tricky and difficult as well, is to peg the situation at the imaginary scale. This will help to calibrate your thoughts to show anger appropriately. It can be usage of words. Remember, the tongue works faster than the mind. And body language, which includes tonality, which means loudness, resonance, and pace, etc. As Osho says, anger is synonymous with sadness. Sadness is passive anger, and anger is active sadness. In our emotions, the polarity continues within us. Yin and yang. Anger is male and sadness is female. When anger comes to you, just sit silently and watch it. Don't be against it. Don't be for it. Don't cooperate with it. Don't repress it. Just watch it. Be patient and see what happens. Let it rise. The energy being the same, this patience is added to that. Nothing else. Don't do anything in the mood when the poisoning is possessing you. If you start looking for the forest, ignoring the trees, you will never be able to see the forest. Try the method practiced in Buddhism, namely talking notice thrice. That is, say in your mind was anger, anger, anger 3 times. Managing anger means challenging our thoughts, accepting and viewing the situation differently, and diffusing the intensity. So, with regard to anger, don't suppress it, don't be aggressive, just express. Anger may be a healthy, normal emotion, but when the anger takes over an individual's life, making them destructive and violent, it is a big problem. Not only does the anger destroy the individual, but it also impacts everyone and everything around them. Anger management could change this individual and ensure a healthy, normal life. If you believe that your anger is out of control for a long time and has been a strong cause for strained personal and professional relationship, take external support. A word of caution here: be cautious to seek the right support or help of life coaches and mental health therapists. Remember, inappropriately expressed anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured. If you like this segment, please subscribe, share, like, comment, and press the bell button. So, thanks for watching. See you soon in my next video. In the meantime, this is Satya signing off. Goodbye. Hi viewers, welcome to my channel Satya Sparkles. This segment is the part 4 of my capsule titled All That Glitters is Gold If Your Mind Believes So. The title for this segment is Ego. Is it an asset or liability on the path to success? Growth is a fundamental phenomenon governing our life. We all want to grow, isn't it? It's a basic desire. We stand still, we go backwards in life. Simply put, there are three stages of growth: where we are, where we want to grow, and how to get there. Even more powerful question that we should ask ourselves now and then is: are we going in the right direction in our life? If the answer is either yes or no, what is one of the major contributory factors? Is it ego? Surprisingly, the answer again, perhaps, is yes and no. Let's explore more on the topic from multiple angles. All of us renew many documents and processes such as passport, driving license, insurance, online subscriptions, and many more periodically. Do we renew ourselves periodically, if not on a daily basis? Self renewal is a principle and a process for upward spiral of growth and change of continuous improvement in our life. Agree? Then, what is the role of ego in renewing ourselves? Spirituality and basic scriptures define ego as a concept of I. We say, I have told you, I am worried now, I got a job, etc. What we mean by mentioning I is the expression of the term ego. Yet, we are often told by others that we should shed our ego. Is it a paradox? We'll see some interesting examples from the history, assuming these occurrences were real. Even otherwise, it should be fine, I suppose, to consider these stories from learning perspective. The story goes like this. Julius Caesar was kidnapped when he was a young boy and held ransom for 11,000 gold pieces. Yet, he asked the captors to raise the ransom to 250,000 gold pieces in order to sustain his royal status and prestige. And we all know that July month with 31 days was named after Julius. Subsequently, when Augustus, who was also called Egotist, assumed throne, insisted that the following month, that is August, named after him, should not have the number of days anything less than 31 days, and hence we note that only July and August are the two consecutive months in the calendar with 31 days back to back. So let's differentiate between ego and egotism. All of us have rather should have ego, without which we cannot achieve anything in life. This means that if our concept or our understanding about ourselves, which can also be referred as self-esteem, is strong realistically, then we tend to have a healthy and strong sense of ego. For example, if you think that you are a competent doctor or an efficient professional in any field for that matter, this ego should help you to potentially succeed in life. Contrary to this attitude, if you think that you're the best person in the respective field, you tend to be egoistic. It is said that a popular wrestler once refused to tighten his seatbelt aboard a plane. He said, a Superman doesn't need a seatbelt at all. The air hostess politely replied, a Superman does not need a plane either. Egoistic mind hides the ego driven thoughts such as superiority or inferiority complex, pride, insecurity, weakness, or limitations beneath the surface. The egoistic person craving to get noticed wishes to be a bride or a bridegroom when attending a marriage function. The person may also wish to be a corpse when attending a funeral function. In this case, the mind is preoccupied with spotlight syndrome, craving for constant attention and recognition from others. The it is all about me approach comes from the elevated ego, and it is so subjective. By understanding how the ego gets inflated in our mind, it is possible to create a balanced view and thus a purpose. In order to find your purpose, identify your passion as a first step. Your passion can be a driving force to love what you do. So, have passion, not be passionate. Have emotions, not be emotional. Have sentiments, not be sentimental. Once you keep everything in moderation or follow the middle path approach, which is also referred as Buddha nature, life becomes very beautiful. Consider having learning or continuous learning as a powerful value system in your life. In other words, stay a student always. As the saying goes, live as though you are going to die tomorrow and learn as though you're going to live forever. Success breeds arrogance often in the minds of egoistic person. The person becomes defensive and fails to acknowledge contribution of others in his or her success journey. By seeing how the ego is prone to exaggerate its successes, practicing humility becomes possible. Humility is a strange thing. The moment you think that you have got it, you have lost it. Humility makes you resilient. Remember, grass can withstand storms, whereas trees get uprooted. So keep that ego in check to demonstrate humility through your words and actions. Colin Powell, the great military leader and the ex-secretary of United States, says that in the military, when you become a four-star general, people will do anything you even suggest you want. If you say a wall looks a little dirty, by sundown it is painted. Never let your ego get so close to your position. When your position goes off, your ego goes with it as well. It is not just our own successes that sometimes inflate our ego. People surrounding you may flatter you and over exaggerate efficiency of your strategy, knowledge, and talents for their undue advantage. It is better to be watchful to deal with such situations and to avoid getting trapped. Are you surrounded by yes people most of the time? Be aware. Human tendency in general is to think or talk about the past glory. Indeed, all of us should be proud to share his good memories of the past, achievements, and accomplishments, as these boost our morale, increase self confidence, and intrinsically motivate us to move forward in life enthusiastically and to seek social approval positively. But the flip side is that overintelligence with such repeated thoughts gradually become dominant thoughts unconsciously, like inflated balloon, resulting in egoistic nature. So don't get stuck in the past. Keep moving and adapt to new situations always. In the words of Patanjali through Yoga Sutras, Asmita means I amness. It is having a distorted image about ourselves, which is not in sync with reality. It is either egotism or insecurity, the forms of egoistic delusion. They do not represent the truth that we are no better or worse than anyone else. The ego loves to win. Fame and authority naturally come to those who excel in certain domains. An insecure ego is terrified of losing control. When it is threatened, Asmita races to defend it. A healthy ego feels content and does not feel threatened. So, to avoid getting trapped in this delusion, we should consciously remind ourselves that we are no better than others and give credit to those who helped or supported us. If a man wants to acquire dignity, he has to only shrink or enlarge his ego to match self space. The story unfolds this way. A crow was carrying a piece of meat. The other birds flying in the sky started chasing the crow and attempting to snatch the meat piece. In the process, the crow got badly hurt. After having a serious thought, the crow dropped the meat and all the other birds started flying towards the falling meat. The crow realized that though it lost the piece of meat, it gained the freedom to fly in the sky fearlessly. So reflect on your dominant thoughts as a discipline. Check for ego quotient and drop the egoistic piece of the meat to attain freedom in life. Coming back to the title of this chapter, it is always our conscious choice to consider our ego as an asset or liability. So, healthy ego is the key to unlock our potential. So, if you like this segment, please subscribe, share, like, comment, and press the bell button. Thanks for watching. See you soon in my next video. In the meantime, this is Satya signing off. Goodbye. Hi viewers, welcome to my channel Satya Sparkles. This segment is the part 5 of my capsule titled All that glitters is gold if your mind believes so. The title for this segment is Overcoming Fear. Is it a futile exercise? Fear is human. It is part of everyone's life. It exists in every success or failure story. And the interesting fact is, it is part of growing. You will agree with me that this certain amount of fear we all could get through exams. Unless we have some degree of fear, we may not be able to cross the road carefully. Albert Camus, a famous author and philosopher, once applied names to the previous centuries. He named 17th century as century of maths, 18th century as a century of physical, 19th as a century of biology, and 20th as century of fear. Unfortunately, medical science has not found any cure for illness so far. Fear, as the psychologists say, resides in our subconscious mind. It shows its presence and power when we anticipate certain future events or scenarios such as loss of life, money, prestige, property, marital or social status, or dignity. And the list is endless. Fear is also becoming a bigger stress factor in the modern VUCA world. Let us look at a recent survey that has revealed the fears which really keep Americans up at night. The Chapman University Survey of American Fears polled 1,207 US adults about their levels of fear across 80 different categories. Here are the findings on top 10 fears. Corruption of government officials, American healthcare, pollution of oceans, rivers, and lakes, pollution of drinking water, not having enough money for the future, high medical bills, US involvement in another world war, global warming and climate change, North Korea using weapons, and air pollution. Although the above fears primarily relate to political and environmental factors, the survey has a pointer to ponder over the nuances of fear management at individual level as well. Some of the questions that come to mind on fear can be: what is fear? Is it good or bad? What's the role of fear in our life? And what's the most prevalent or powerful fear? How can we trace, grace, or erase fear? And many more. Let's examine and try to understand how to find answers to these questions and understand fear as a strong emotion in our life. Fear is often referred to as false evidence appearing real. Many of us are intellectually very strong, but emotionally tend to be weak many times. Research says that whatever that we fear, 40% of that never happens. 30% of that just the past. 12% of that is needless. 10% of that is petty and small. And 8% is real but can be solved or cannot be solved. Research by Lisa Geminis says that when we were born, we had three basic fears. These are fear of falling, fear of loud noise, and fear of abandonment. All other fears are learned behaviors. And fortunately, what is learned can also be unlearned and relearned. When a ferocious dog chases a man, it is normal to be afraid of the situation, and the man reacts to the fear by resorting to flight or fight mode. The body and mind is tuned to deal with the situation with various changes happening in the body, including the release of adrenaline hormone. This situation is called reacting to fear, which is quite normal. On the contrary, if a man happened to read a news in the morning about an air crash that was reported earlier night, and if he becomes panic and immediately cancels his scheduled evening flight, he is actually acting in fear. After all, statistics say that worldwide the incidence of casualty is much, much more in road accidents than in air crash. If someone has constant fear about the future, he is acting in fear. So, understanding the distinct difference between reacting to fear and acting in fear makes sense in fear management to large extent. A man went to see a psychiatrist and said, "Doctor, I have serious trouble. I am deeply and deadly afraid to take the handset whenever the phone rings." The doctor prescribed some medicine and assured him that he would recover soon from his disease. A week later, the doctor called the man over phone to inquire the progress. The man answered, "Yes, doctor, a great improvement indeed. You see, now I was not afraid and I took your call immediately when the phone rang. But I also want to let you know, doctor, that nowadays I pick up the handset without any fear whether the phone rings or not." The type of fear associated with this anecdote relates to phobia, which is psychologically called morbid or irrational fear. So let's understand different types of phobias. There are different types of phobias such as animal phobias, natural environment phobias, blood injection injury phobias, situational phobias like linked to fear in airplanes, elevators, driving, enclosed places. Other phobias such as phobic avoidance of situations that may lead to choking, vomiting, or contracting an illness, etc. In most cases, phobias develop in early childhood, though it can develop at any stage. Adolf Hitler suffered from allurophobia, which is a fear of cats. Alexander the Great, Napoleon, and Mussolini also had the same phobia. While the cause of a specific phobia may be unknown, it is essential to be aware of the symptoms and seek timely medical help or mental help involving some time tested treatments such as CBT, that is cognitive behavioral therapy, a system of treatment involving a focus on thinking and its influence on both behavior and feelings, and medication with usage of antidepressants. Basically, most fears are nothing but movement of thoughts. A fearful thought is the language that we give for words, pictures, and feelings towards uncertainty. People fear about various situations such as fear of the unknown, our own feelings, or the feelings of others, lack of personal control or personal skills, fear that things will get worse or not being liked, and many more. There is a study conducted about the most common behavioral fear of Americans some years ago. Two prisoners were convicted for murder and were about to be hanged until death. As a customary practice, the judicial person asked them to tell about their last wish. One person said, that he wanted to give a public speech throughout his life, but it could not materialize. So other person pleaded, "Sir, please hang me before this fellow starts a speech." Yes, you guessed rightly. Fear of public speaking is the most common fear as per the research. Yes, public speaking is like pregnancy. It is easy to conceive but difficult to deliver. Fear of failure demonstrates a person to take an initiative. Such people take one step forward but two steps backward. This fear is due to distorted person perception about being rejected or not measuring up. And what about the fear of success? This fear equally demotivates a person to be committed, prevents a person to assume responsibility or adapt to change. How to overcome fear? A few strategies can help. All of us have our own self worth, which we may or may not recognize. Nevertheless, it is better not to seek others' endorsement to determine our own self worth. Past is past. Milk spoiled is spoiled. We cannot change the past. However, we need to recognize our past because it gives us identity. Sometimes the exit door may be at our back, which we may not recognize. While driving a car, we should look at the side mirror only on and off and not fix our sight constantly. Otherwise, we may lose our vision to recognize the opportunities that may arise right in front of our eyes. Past has only two purposes. Firstly, to cherish good memories, and secondly, to learn from the past. Thinking too much about the past, especially the difficult times, reinforce the fears associated with those memories in our mind, and that will project and manifest into fear manifold in the present. So stop thinking that you can change what happened yesterday by reliving it today, and stop feeling responsible for the happiness or unhappiness of others, irrespective of how close they are. Avoid being surrounded by people who are living with negative states. Buddha says that we should be careful with four kinds of people who should be regarded as unsuitable friends. Firstly, greedy people, they take much but give very little. They act not out of duty but out of fear, and they pursue only their own interest. Secondly, those who prefer words than deeds, they overestimate their future good deeds. They try to gain favor with empty promises, and when you need help, they will find excuses for not giving it. Thirdly, those who flatter, they agree with you even when you're wrong. And you cannot tell when they think you're right. They praise you to your face and they speak ill of you behind your back. And finally, those who are self indulgent, they compel you to drink intoxicating liquors with them, they encourage you to gamble with them. I would like to share some powerful truths that drew my attention and broke my thoughts. I feared being alone until I learned to like myself. I feared failure until I realized that I only fail when I don't try. I feared success until I realized that I was curious to experiment with new ideas. I feared people's opinions until I learned that people would have opinions about me anyway. I feared rejection until I learned to have faith in myself. I feared pain until I learned that it is necessary for growth. I feared death until I realized that I should enjoy every available moment as far as possible. I feared my destiny until I realized that I had the power to change my life. And feared growing old until I realized that I gained wisdom every day. I feared change until I saw that even the most beautiful butterfly had to undergo a metamorphosis until it could fly. So let's make the best use of antidotes. Tremendous confidence and faith. Fear it, faith in reverse. It is a dark room where we develop negatives. The African culture calls it Imani. The Jewish culture calls it Imunua. The Muslims call it Imam. All mean one and the same thing. Webster defines faith as complete confidence and assurance, firm belief, and strong conviction. Faith is the belief in someone greater than yourself. I am reminded of an anecdote. When there is a severe drought, the villagers were preparing to visit the next village, where a special prayer was organized to please the weather god. One young boy carried an umbrella with him, and when he was asked, "What is the necessity for an umbrella when there is no sign of rain?" he replied that it would be required on his way back after the prayer was over. This is unshakable faith. Various research studies affirm the placebo effect of such faith on the patients. It is through faith we can banish fear. Faith fosters hope, courage, boldness, and conviction. It creates belief, confidence, and focus. And no one would want to be rejected, right? No, you're wrong. There is one person who does not mind rejected. He is the one who knows the law of averages. He knows that it takes 10 rejections to one success. In fact, all success stories are stories of failures. Optimum is the force multiplier. And so, put optimism on your desktop. Embrace grace filled with awareness. When there is a law of gravitation, there should be a law of grace encompassing higher source of power, which empowers, enlightens, encourages, and helps us to thrive in any situation. So, exquisite enthusiasm for life, and it should be a decision. Ultimately, the secret to manage fear is be self motivated as far as possible. So, fear is only as deep as mind allows. So, if you like this segment, click subscribe, share, like, comment, and press the bell button. Thanks for watching. See you soon in my next video. In the meantime, this is Satya signing off. Goodbye. Hi viewers, welcome to my channel Satya Sparkles. This segment is the part 6 of my capsule title, All That Glitters is Gold If Your Mind Believes So. The title for this segment is Anxiety, a Boon or a Ban. So let's look at two practical scenarios. The first scenario, imagine that you are walking alone in an unknown area which is completely dark. You may be jittery with scary thoughts and may feel fluttering of a few butterflies in your stomach. In the second scenario, visualize that you are waiting at the reception of an office and you are about to be called for an interview for a job which you aspire to secure desperately. You are able to hear your own heartbeat and you become sweaty. These two sensations are caused by anxiety that is related to the possibility of painful or uncertain situations. According to authors Sadok and Ruiz, anxiety is an unpleasant, vague sense of apprehension. It is often our response an to an inaccurate or unknown threat. It comes from our mind's reference of the possible dangers that could instantly happen. We have discussed about fear and its role in our daily life in the earlier chapter. However, we can understand fear better in conjunction with anxiety. Fear and anxiety often occur together in our life. Nevertheless, these terms are not interchangeable. While you might have experienced overlap of the symptoms of fear and anxiety, they are different from their source and context. Fear corresponds to a familiar or a perceived understood threat, but anxiety is a result of thoughts that are origin in an unknown or poorly conceived threat. Anxiety can hang around for a long time that can cause insignificant impairment in social, occupational, and other important areas of life. Among many factors leading to stressful situations, fear and anxiety tend to play a critical role when it comes to our survival. Researchers have found that prevalence ranges of anxiety are approximately 5% in childhood, 16% in teenage, and around 3 to 5% in other age groups. Males tend to be less prone to frequent anxiety than females. While it is good to know about anxiety and its role in our life, it would be wiser also to know about how to preempt this strong emotion so that we can avoid carrying excess baggage and thus can enjoy our life journey at our will. When we take certain decisions in our life, be it securing a loan to buy a house, or going for a second child, or joining a new company for an employment involving a new role, or post retirement plans, it is very normal to go through a certain degree of anxiety. In fact, it intensifies our thought processes to be cautious to ensure that nothing should happen adversely. On the contrary, the degree of anxiety beyond certain point is counterproductive, especially when it causes constant worry, resulting in sleepless nights, losing appetite, or bad interpersonal relationships. It's a serious issue to be addressed, and sooner the better. Stemming from the root causes of anxiety, certain ways of thinking will be helpful in holding on and managing ambiguity. Firstly, agreeing to impossible deadlines, especially at a workplace, may help you to please someone initially, but at what cost? Often, it's better to be honest and politely, yet firmly disagree for impossible deadlines than regretting or apologizing at a later date. And if you finish the job ahead of deadline, you'll feel better and keep your superiors satisfied as well. Secondly, one can mentally visualize the possible positive or negative outcomes of a planned action. Setting clear expectations will help us to be well prepared to face the potential threats so that they won't give a surprise or a shock. This will increase our ability to manage the feelings of anxiety that may arise on and off. Another way is to take some baby steps to get exposed to some small potential risks. As you know, doctors inject a test dose to check the possibility of a drug allergy. This means identifying the threat areas, being determined to explore and experiment consciously with full vigor, more importantly, anticipating failures and continual learning from mistakes. These incremental steps, when taken with an open mind, will surely help us to preempt anxiety to greater extent. When an anxiety persists for a long time, look out for a helping hand and share your feelings. This will help in two ways. Firstly, it decreases your mental rigidity in terms of anxiety feelings. And secondly, your support system may provide vital clues for a way forward. While considering these options, let us not forget the basics such as sound sleep, good nutrition, work well, play well attitude, etc., as these are significant contributor factors in managing anxiety in the first place. Now, let us turn to other side of anxiety. Have you ever thought about certain advantages when we live with moderate anxiety? Understanding about this will help us to take a balanced view rather than pressing a panic button every time we experience anxiety. Behavioral scientists have learned that some degree of anxiety is not essentially bad. The eustress, also called as positive stress, keeps us energized, motivated, and enthusiastic in our life. Just as any physical pain that alerts us to take a remedial action, anxiety may just be the warning signal to create awareness about the situation on hand so that we can think of options to take some necessary changes in our life. The anxiety sometimes may be difficult to manage, but being sensitive to these symptoms and coping with your anxiety can be an opportunity for refining our life. Research has shown that actors, public speakers, and athletics who are subjected to initial anxiety showed their improved performance with greater confidence once they realized that it was very normal. Empathy may be a positive outcome of anxiety as people know themselves about the anxious moment that they felt and sailed through in the past. This positive attitude helps them to foster good relationship with others. Another benefit of anxious situations is that they drive you to be more focused on the issue on hand and your mind consciously look for plan A and plan B. This benefit as a byproduct helps us to develop a healthy habit to become more disciplined. So, next time when you have anxiety about something, ponder over and count your blessings in disguise and move on. When walking on a thin ice, it's better to keep moving. Standing still will easily break the ice. If you like this segment, please share, subscribe, like, comment, and press the bell button. Thanks for watching. See you soon in my next video. In the meantime, this is Satya signing off. Goodbye. Hi viewers, welcome to my channel Satya Sparkles. This segment is the part 7 of my capsule titled All That Glitters is Gold If Your Mind Believes So. Uh, the title for this segment is Can You Use Jealousy to Fuel Your Own Success? Before we get to the topic, I request you to watch the video till the end to get a comprehensive view of the content. Okay, let's begin. Have you heard of National Jealousy Day. Interestingly, it is celebrated on 1st November at Helsinki in Finland. On this day, every Finnish citizen's taxable income is made public. People queue up eagerly to know about others' income. Reason? I leave it to your own imagination. As you might have seen in our earlier posting, fear and anger are the emotions of neutral value unless we give negative color or powers to them, either consciously or unconsciously. Jealousy is definitely a negative emotion in us. This is one emotion that we mostly reluctant to even admit. Often, people don't give serious thought to this negative emotion. The reason could be our inherent nature of impulsiveness that drives us to compare ourselves with others quite often. When we were a child, parents might have compared how good or bad our studies was with our neighbor children, or even with our brothers or sisters in the same family. School teachers do their part, unfortunately, in comparing the performance among students. As children, we do not question that attitude of comparison, but subconsciously accept as a way of life. This sets a tone in our mind at our formative age when our mental faculties are adequate to challenge the belief systems of others. As we continue to grow, our thoughts get synchronized with this attitude of comparison that is programmed as autopilot mode in our subconscious mind. Initially, people tend to become uncomfortable by comparing their current situation with that of others, be it a love affair, friendship, marriage partnership, in-law relationship, office environment, business relationship, and many more. Then these recurring thoughts, obsessed with negative reaction in mind, lead to the emotional state of jealousy as a mental habit. Jealousy sets in the mind when someone has a strong value for something and the other person who he compares has relatively either the same degree of value or high degree of value. A beggar can never be jealous of rich people. At best, he can be envious, but he may be jealous about the beggar sitting very next to him who gets little more money than what he got. People may not be jealous about a corrupt politician who has amassed public money, but he may be jealous about his colleague who gets more pay from the employer than him. This is an illogical or foolish thought, as it is impossible for us to accurately understand others' story in full and the nuances of their journey, however close you are with them. Jealousy operates more often than not in many subtler ways. It cuts across all relationships. It may be even between parents and their children, or between husband and wife, or even between close friends. It is easy for us to judge, blame, and even brand others as jealous. The question is, how can we recognize our own thoughts that are jealous oriented? Although others may observe our behaviors that explicitly exhibit our jealous nature, They may not alert us or give a negative feedback for various reasons to sustain a long relationship or to seek a few favor, to name a few. Now let's look at the other side of the coin. Can you use jealousy to fuel your own success? The good news is that you can use the feeling of jealousy to help you get real about what you want in your life. Change in your life can only happen only when you are honest with yourself. You need a lot of courage for this, and it can be hard to work in certain areas in your life. True. But do you know what is even more harder? Continuing to live a life that you are not happy in. Jealous people are prone to pull others down when they are not able to reach others' level of success. In fact, their own problems don't even bother them as much as others' progress. So, be sensitive to your own thought patterns to validate their worthiness, keeping in mind the well being of yourself and others. And be watchful of your own thoughts when you feel like commenting bad about others in their absence. Similarly, when others express to you their jealous feeling about someone, avoid continuing the conversation further or politely change the topic. Ask a few questions and try to figure out your own answers. What can I do to change and deal with jealousy thought? What action can I take right now to use the jealousy thoughts as a springboard to see an issue from different angle? A story to illustrate the effects of jealousy in our psyche in particular and life in general goes like this. Once a jellyfish happened to swallow a small snail along with other food. The snail was alive inside the stomach of the jellyfish, and whenever it was hungry, it came out of the shell and ate a small flesh of the jellyfish. As this process was going on for many days, size of the jellyfish was shrinking day by day. One day, the snail did not find any flesh as it had eaten the whole jellyfish over time. In this metaphor, the snail corresponds to our jealous feeling and the jellyfish represents our life. So, jealousy does not need to be a bad thing. It can be a powerful tool that can inspire you, helping you move between where you are and where you want to be. The problem is that we allow the jealous thoughts and nourish them in our mind. By doing this, we not only weaken the relationship with others gradually, but also ruin our happiness in the process for sure. So, the bottom line is empathy is the only antidote for toxic thoughts of jealousy. Empathy means not just picking others' pain, but also picking others' pleasure. If you like this segment, please subscribe, share, like, comment, and press the bell button. Thanks for watching. See you soon in my next video. In the meantime, this is Satya signing off. Goodbye. Hi viewers, welcome to my channel Satya Sparkles. This segment is part 8 of my capsule titled All That Glitters is Gold If Your Mind Believes So. The title for this segment is How Can Hate Help But Hatred Cannot? Before we get into the topic, just a brief introduction about myself for those who watch my channel for the first time. I also request you to watch the video till the end to get a comprehensive view of the content. If you like this segment, please subscribe, share, like, comment, and press the bell button. Okay, let's begin. To start with, we'll try to understand the subject from two perspectives. Firstly, how to differentiate hate from hatred, and secondly, how can we treat hate to our advantage in life. As has been generally perceived, hate is a strong and an extreme emotional dislike. It may trigger an intense feeling of anger or resentment. It can also be directed against individuals, including even close family members, religious groups or communities, countries, objects, behaviors, or ideas. Do you know who has been listed as the topmost hated person in America by BBC News recently? It is Martin Shelley. He committed a white collar crime by playing a dirty game with the life of AIDS patients. As the then head of the Turing pharmaceutical company, he willfully increased the price of the AIDS drug called Daraprim by more than 50 times overnight, from $13.5 per tablet to $750 per tablet. Martin is no longer be allowed to work in his industry after he has been released from the prison. He also had to pay compensation to his victims totaling $64.6 million. The world doesn't just care much if someone cheated them out of billions of dollars as long as it was not them. This true story apart, medically, how does hate arise in us? Through fMRI, that is functional MRI, scientists have spotted the parts of the brain that light up when we actively hate someone. That is probably a reason why hate got involved among humans in the first place. Hate is characterized not just by areas of brain activity, but by areas of brain inactivity. The superior frontal gyrus in our brain is correlated with self-awareness and laughter. So it is not surprising that it is repressed when a person hates. When we hate, we fail to laugh, and we may get a bit obsessive with recurring disturbing thoughts. For us to have a hateful thought, there could be main causes from one's own perspective or from the perspective of the external world. When directed to oneself, hate represents guilt. When directed to other people, hate represents pride. For example, some may generalize their assumptions and prejudices against a particular community. Due to this thinking, they develop some kind of dislike, leading to an emotional state of hate. This kind of intense hate, when turned into hatred, leads to communal riots sometimes. Other cause of hate can be inconsistency and incompatibility in our belief systems and value systems, our upbringing, intolerance, inability to take a stand, or cope with stressful situations, our inherent flaws in our strategy, tactics, and execution while dealing with conflicts at individual and organizational levels. It is not uncommon to see that especially the politicians and religious leaders give hate speeches to target a person or a group of people based on their social and ethnic group, such as race, age, ethnicity, nationality, religion, gender, ideology, and social class. There is also some question as to whether or not hate speech falls under the protection of freedom of speech in some countries. How can hate help? But hatred cannot. Let's also understand that hate by itself is the emotional and dynamic ability to respect ourselves and sustain our self esteem. If hate is objectively tracked, it produces a clear thinking and it strengthens a person's willpower. It supports the desire for solitude. In our life, we cannot tolerate others' stupidity and undesirable behavior all the time. It's our basic instinct to hate others' behaviors which negatively impact us. If their attitude and behaviors are illegal, immoral, or antisocial, as per our standards and convictions, we should filter, recognize, and treat them exclusively. Most of us hate a person as a whole and not just his or her specific attributes and behaviors. It's like pasting the peanut butter on the entire slice of bread. This understanding of addressing an issue and not the person per se is very important in any interpersonal relationship. The skillful way of using hate is to clear the mind of specific redundant attachments and desires. In life, we come to a conclusion at certain time that we should keep a safe distance with a particular person due to some reason. Buddha talks about four kinds of people we should keep away from: those who are greedy, those who prefer words than deeds, those who flatter, and self indulgent people who encourage others to get involved in immoral actions. With hate in disguise parked in a corner of our mind space, we can keep away these type of people from us. This attitude allows us to get relief from disturbing thoughts about others at our will and to focus on other priorities in our life. Some emotions such as anger, fear, frustration may lead to such detachment. Hate as a healthy emotion make this possible in a positive sense. So far, we try to understand what is hate and its impact on individual and the society. Now, what is hatred then? Hatred is often associated with feelings of anger, disgust, or a tendency towards hostility. The key word here is hostility. When hostility sets in our mind, we tend to take revenge on others. When someone badly hurts or humiliates or cheats us, we may tend to think that the other person would pay a price for all the bad deeds in this life or in the next life, or God should punish him. Alternatively, others may take law in his or her own hand and indulge in undesirable actions directly or indirectly, subtly or explicitly. In spiritual and social parlance, this revengeful attitude is bad for whatever reason, based on which it is conceived in our mind. Adolf Hitler with his unhealthy attitude towards Jews, grossly abused his powers to victimize them. His strong and intense hate attitude toward Jews got percolated deep inside in his subconscious mind. This attitude progressively turned into hatred. To set an example, he blocked the bank account of Albert Einstein and confiscated his entire savings, the bank locker of his wife, and all his properties. He even burnt his research documents, and we all know the war crimes associated with his unhealthy hatred attitude. Once we develop our hostile thought to assume revenge attitude, we get into the emotional state of hatred. This is more dangerous than having a hate thought by itself. Hatred is a form of frustration, apathy, and animosity which boils within oneself. This establishes no healthy relationship with the world other than an aimless desire for destruction. So, hostility is the differential factor between hate and hatred. When we are in the intersection of hate and hatred, let's take a pause, reflect on the pros and cons of our stand. This is the very difficult but not impossible. Focus on the sufferings of others and turn to yourself to see how better you are. Resist asking the question, why me? Hatred once crept in, the only remedy is to replace it by love, kindness, and compassion. Nothing else works. It takes at least two people to make a prison. One is the prisoner, the other one is the jailer. Both are physically present inside the jail. The jailer has to be alert and vigilant all the time. He will never be free until the prisoner is inside. Here, the prison in our mind is our mind. The prisoner is the hatred attitude, and we play the role of a jailer. So it is up to us to decide how soon we want to be free from our mental prison and enjoy the life. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. So see you soon in my next video. In the meantime, this is Satya signing off. Goodbye. Hi viewers, welcome to my channel, Satya Sparkles. This segment is part 9 of my capsule titled, All That Glitters is Gold, If Your Mind Believes So. The title for this segment is Unconditional Love. Is it possible? Before we get into the topic, just a brief introduction about me for those who watch my channel for the first time. I also request you to watch the video till the end to get a comprehensive view of the content. If you like the segment, please subscribe, share, like, comment, and press the bell button. Before addressing the question, unconditional love, is it possible? We will try to understand what is love in the first place. Love is an extremely strong emotion in our planet. It has capacity to heal and to cure, to build and to restore, to renew and reform, to translate and transform our lives as well as others. In general parlance, love is perceived as the emotional concept of romance, but love is far more than that. Love comes in 4 different forms: filio, eros, storge, and agape. Filios is the love between friends and family members. It is usually called brotherly love. That is why Philadelphia is called the city of brotherly love. Eros is of romantic or sensual type involving passion, longing, craving, and desire. Storge is parental love, and agape is the love of Almighty or cosmic consciousness. People often confuse between the terms loving and liking. If you are thinking to pluck a beautiful flower, it would mean that you like the flower. If you want to water the plant to grow more of such flowers, then you really love those flowers. Love is a basic and a fundamental value, but liking is a preference which is subject to change depending on how we approach life situations. Having talked about what love is, let's explore more on what are the limitations of love. Love is certainly possible when we don't expect anything from others to fulfill our desires. Once we drop these expectations, we can learn how to love. Then everything that happens fulfills us. For one thing, we never feel frustrated because, in the first place, we never expected. Ideally, if we accept with gratitude whatever life brings to us, complaints and grumbling disappear. So the question is it possible in real life? Osho says that life is given to us and we are alive. Light is present. We have to make a bridge between life and light, and the bridge is love. Ordinarily, when you are in love, you become more unconscious. That is lust, the lowest denominator. It is the lowest rung of the ladder. Of course, it belongs to the ladder, but it is the lowest rung. At the highest rung, there is tremendous consciousness. And if you cannot be conscious in the presence of your lover, where else you will be conscious? Logic belongs to the past. Love belongs to future. Dalai Lama maintains a living link with 13 predecessors. He adopted a policy called the Midway toward China. He said that his commitment in life as a Buddhist monk is the promotion of harmony among the different religions. Despite their different concepts and philosophies, All the cheap religious traditions bring us the same message of love, compassion, tolerance, and self discipline. The expression of love is also essential at birth. Since our first instinct was to suck milk from mother's breast, we instinctively feel closer to our mother. If she is angry or unhappy during breastfeeding, the flow of milk is restricted. When a doctor lacks empathy, unfriendly, or impassioned, even he is very famous and his diagnosis is correct. With the most effective remedies, the sick person is still in distress. True love does not stem from the pleasure of feeling close to other person, but from the conviction that other people are just like me and they also should not suffer. The virtue of unconditional love is a noble one, no doubt. But when we recognize that our ideals don't match with others' expectations, unfortunately, loving unconditionally will be impossible. Children, of course, need to be loved without conditions. As they struggle through life, we need to be patient and offer guidance repeatedly. By loving unconditionally, we create a climate for safe environment for their emotional well-being. Without the practice of extreme tolerance, showing unconditional love is just impossible. Remember, it requires an enemy. As adults, we also have necessity for safe relationships. We want to trust that a partner or loyal friend will be there to help us when we needed them. The challenge in every healthy relationship is being responsive to others and also satisfy our own needs and aspirations in life. Unconditional love, though being popularly advocated, it fails to recognize the necessity to promote change within when things don't go in our way. Relationships become stronger only when we both have a capacity for self care and welfare of others in practical sense. We have a need not only to love but also to be loved. Unconditional love may be unrealistic ideal. Rather, we can choose a path to be sensitive to others' feelings and also being fairly responsive to our own legitimate feelings. Then, can we call agape as unconditional love? Here again, one may have more expectations from supreme power than from others. Expectations can be for oneself or for others. Either case, it cannot be unconditional love. Nevertheless, in reality, if the love is selfless and with detached attachment like water drops on lotus leaf, agape love toward divine and cosmic power can truly be translated into unconditional love. In other types of love, it is always questionable. So, mutual love can only survive under certain critical conditions. A flower needs at least sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water to grow. We cannot expect love to thrive under unfavorable conditions. Here, I leave these thoughts with you to ponder over and draw your own conclusions. Thanks for watching. If you like, please comment. And subscribe. See you soon in my next video. In the meantime, this is Satya signing off. Goodbye. Hi viewers, welcome to my channel Satya Sparkles. This segment is part 10, my capsule title, All That Glitters is Gold, if your mind believes so. The title for this segment is Good Luck and Bad Luck. Is it a myth? Before we get into the topic, just a brief introduction about myself for those who watch my channel for the first time. I also request you to watch the video till the end to get a comprehensive view of the content. If you like this segment, please subscribe, share, like, comment, and press the bell button. Okay, let's begin. We all know the fox and the grape story. A quick recap. The fox makes his efforts to reach and fetch the grapes. He fails in his repeated attempts. Then he says to himself that the grapes must be sour and he does not eat them anyways. This type of thinking is called cognitive dissonance, a theory advocated by an American psychologist, Leon Festinger. We sometimes put two or more beliefs, values, ideas, or emotional responses. In this state, people replace or alter their thinking about undesirable current situations to new ones in alignment with their belief systems. This helps them to console themselves. This also gives them immediate mental relief. To clarify further, a person might be watching a movie in TV at late night. Off the way, he might feel sleepy and opt to go for sleeping. By this, he may alter his original desire by saying to himself that the movie is not worth watching or not that interesting. It is also possible that he might watch the same movie again during the daytime. He may even recommend the movie to his friends. Knowing cigarette smoking is bad, a person may hide a cigarette from others' view. This default response, when strikes our mind often, we tend to drop our efforts on the issue on hand and focus on something else. This faulty thinking significantly reduces our ability to learn from the earlier failure or the extreme situation. Further, by this response, we might miss many opportunities in life by not pursuing our goals or completing the originally initiated task. Correct understanding about our cognitive dissonance should help us to introspect and ask ourselves whether or not we are getting trapped by this behavioral pattern. In this mental state, our ability towards perseverance gets diminished subconsciously. On the contrary, can we also make the best use of this mental pattern consciously to our advantage? There's a Chinese story, good luck, bad luck. Who knows? There was a farmer who had a horse for tilling his fields. One day, the horse went into the hills and did not return back. Fellow farmers sympathized with the old man over his bad luck. The farmer replied, whether it is bad luck or good luck, who knows? Some days later, the horse returned with a herd of wild horses from the hills. This time, the fellow farmers congratulated him on his good luck. His reply was again, good luck or bad luck, who knows? Later, when the farmer's son tried to tame one of the wild horses, he fell off and broke his leg. Everyone thought this was a very bad luck. Farmer again said, bad luck or good luck, who knows? After some days, the army marched into the village and gathered every able-bodied youth to fight a war. The farmer's son, with his broken leg, was left behind as he was not fit enough to fight the war. So the question, good luck or bad luck, who knows, continues to remain unanswered. Let us try to understand the moral of the story in a different context. Many people get disheartened and demoralized when they face failures repeatedly despite their best efforts. The failures can be from different quarters, maybe in business, marriage, social relationships, and many more. Some even blame the fate or karma and get into shell. Some get into unhealthy habits. Some even get into mental depression requiring longer clinical treatment. At this juncture, who knows attitude helps rejected person to get self-motivated and to bounce back with strong sense of resilience. Behavioral scientists are constantly researching the effects of cognitive dissonance theory from multiple perspectives of different professions. For example, a lawyer may argue on professional reasons to prove that his client is innocent despite knowing for sure that he has committed the crime. It is also possible that the lawyer's domain skills might even help to get a favorable judgment for his client. It is interesting to analyze the lawyer's thought process in such a scenario. How does he justify his action to his own conscience by holding the two conflicting values, still leading a peaceful life? When such instances recur, often in his professional life, it becomes a norm in the mind of the lawyer, and this behavior does not bother him very much. This is also applicable in many social situations, such as bribing someone, and in extreme case of terror attack, even on innocent children, and many more. In our personal life, on common parlor, how cognitive dissonance thinking impacts us in our life. Let us recall a popular story here. Once, a king and his minister went deep into a forest for hunting. While entering a fight with a bear, the king got his finger injured. Upon seeing the blood oozing out from the king's finger, the minister sympathized and advised, "Don't worry, king, all for good." The king reacted sharply and abused the minister for his irresponsible and apathetic comment. Angrily, he pushed the minister into a nearby well. The minister survived since there was only knee-foot water in the well. Then the king proceeded further into the forest alone for hunting. Deep inside the forest, a tribal group was preparing for human sacrifice to please their god. One tribal person saw the king approaching. He immediately caught hold of the king and produced him before the head of the tribal group. When the king was about to be killed, the head of the tribal group noticed the king's wounded figure. He immediately declared that the king was not suitable for sacrifice, as there was a dosha in the prasada, that is, imperfect gift, and set the king free. The relieved king ran toward the minister and lifted him out of the well. Then the king narrated the whole story and apologized for abusing. The minister said earlier, all for good. The minister responded quickly by saying, "King, don't apologize. Had you not pushed me into the well, I would have been a perfect prasada." All said and done, cognitive dissonance is very common and natural in our life. All of us go through different degrees of dissonance every day. It happens in situations when our beliefs are being challenged. What is the simplest way then? The first step is to recognize those dissonant beliefs and revisit them on and off. In a crossroad, if your thinking is around the dissonance thought, such as bad luck or all for good, ask two questions to yourself. Is it true that I have absolutely no control over the current situation? And have I exhausted all the possibilities? If you get the answer no to both these two questions, then try to be aware about the negative effect of cognitive dissonance on your words and actions. This awareness will trigger our mind, find ways to overcome it. This is far more better than being untruthful to ourselves. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and press the bell button. See you soon in my next video. In the meantime, Satya signing off. Goodbye.